Well, Cape Town will be the first city in Africa to host the 4th annual Earthshot Prize founded by Prince William. As the mother city prepares for this global event, it's making history and showcasing Africa's commitment to a sustainable future. One of the finalists, Abalobi, who have their roots in the mother city, are leading the charge. For more on Earthshot Prize, we are now joined by the CEO, Hannah Jones. Hannah, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time for us once again. Finally, it is here. How do you feel?
I'm so excited. We're just so excited to be here and to kick off Earthshot Week across the city.
Yeah. So tell us, Hannah, what happens between now up until the 6th? Because that's when we actually get to hear who the winners are.
Absolutely. So it is going to be a jam-packed session here in Cape Town for the whole week. And we already have 120 young climate leaders from across Africa and Asia who flew in last night. So some of them are pretty jet lagged, I have to say. They're going to be joining us across the week in an amazing leadership development program that will be woven in and out of the entire program for Earthshot Week. In addition, we have business partners, philanthropists, investors, finalists from this year's cohort, as well as our alumni, and obviously some very VIP guests, all flying into Cape Town to do a couple of things. Of course, this culminates in this incredible award show, and it will be an award show with a lot of firsts, thanks to MultiChoice, the Mayor of Cape Town, and the government of South Africa and all our partners. But before that, we're going to be talking about some really important issues, how we're going to work together to create a long-lasting impact here in South Africa, across the continent, and drive towards a more sustainable future by unleashing young people's creativity to fix the planet one solution at a time.
Yeah, and speaking about those A-listers, I saw that Heidi Klum is part of them. She just had a big Halloween party dressed up as E.T., but certainly making time for an event of this nature, very, very important. But what does this tell us about the people that are also part of this event to try and spread the word around sustainability?
You know, I think we've come together as a real force of a collective, if you think about it. We're a 4-year-old organization, and we already have over 500 partners and so many VIPs that have come together with us. And the reason for that is because what we see is a wave of youth anxiety and youth anger about their future and the way in which climate change is going to impact their future. And what we want to offer is an alternative. It's the alternative to take action and to reclaim your future by thinking about how you can become part of the solution. And that's no more have we seen that than in Africa. So for the last year and a half, we've been working with partners across the continent. We've been visiting nominees and solutions on site. We've been meeting with experts and with nominators. And we see a picture that is really quite unique in the world. And it's a picture of young Africans solving not one problem, but 2 problems at the same time. They're creating environmental solutions and creating green prosperity and green jobs. And that's remarkable because it's really that is going to teach the world how we need to leapfrog into the future. So 71% of all our African nominations are focused on solving issues of poverty alongside environmental challenges. And at the same time, 50% of them are startups. So this culture of entrepreneurialism is really something that can teach the rest of the world. And that's what we want to spotlight.
Yeah, it's almost also that it is creating a new opportunity, even from an entrepreneurial side, that how entrepreneurs are able to come together and solve some of the world's problems. But here we're speaking about clean energy, we're speaking about clean air. How do we clean up our oceans and make sure that the ocean is also clean, because it is part of the earth that we enjoy. But speak to us about the £1 million prize that each of the 5 winners will be walking away with. What is that money intended to do? What then happens after that?
Well, let's take a step back and remind ourselves of the 5 Earthshot challenges, to your point. We seek to replenish the oceans, to restore nature, to get to a zero waste world, to clean our air and to fix the climate. And we look for ingenious solutions that, if they were scaled or replicated, could be transformative for the planet. And through that selection process of looking for 15 finalists, we then narrow it down with an amazing prize council to 5 winners, 1 in each category. And they'll receive £1 million each as a grant that is to enable them to start to speed their solution to scale. Now, here's the thing. Our team, when the awards are finished on Wednesday night, we will be getting up on Thursday morning to work on how we help all the solutions, irrespective of whether they win, to speed their solutions to scale. And that is what keeps us working throughout the year. We are focused on helping all solutions to scale. So to do that, we have a fellowship program in which we take all 15 finalists through a 12-month program on leadership, on storytelling, on how to build your brand and how to pitch, how to build an organization to take your work to scale. And then we convene them with our amazing partners. We have global partners and networks around the world, and we do a bit of matchmaking. Frankly, some people have called us a bit of a dating agency, and we bring people with funds and resources and capital together with our solutions to look to how we can catalyze investments and resources, expertise and support going into solutions. And to date, we're happy to say we will have given out £20 million in prize awards over the last 4 years, if we include the ones on Wednesday. And we have raised to date £77 million in catalytic additional funding and resources that are going from our partners into those solutions. And we hope that we're going to be able to announce even more by the end of this week.
Yeah. Do we know whether any policymakers will be in the room? Because it's one bit to have all of the ingenuity that comes together and organizations that are willing to fund some of these ideas, but the policymakers are also important to create a fertile ground for some of these organizations to actually scale.
Yes, absolutely. So we are very intentional about using our convening platform to invite policymakers alongside investors, funders, corporations, and our finalists and young people to think about how we can have public-private partnerships and what policies are needed to enable these innovations to scale. So we have, I think it's about 11 of the South African government joining us at different moments throughout the week. The Minister for Environment, Dion George, will be with us for most of the week. We'll also be obviously having very prestigious guests from the government joining us at the awards ceremony as well.
Yeah, and speaking about prestigious guests, Prince William, just take us a few steps back. It's 2018, he's in Namibia, and the light bulb goes off, and he calls this a special place. What is it about Earthshot that he said that, listen, I think we can be able to use, I guess, my network and the ability or the people that I have worked with to bring them all together and create an organization of this nature and also a campaign, literally.
Yes. You know, it's an incredible story, the founding story, because Prince William, as you say, is our founder and is heavily involved and just an amazing inspiration to all of us. And it began in Namibia. And it began by visiting a conservation project that was creating green prosperity at the same time, creating jobs that were alternatives to poaching for that community, and watching that income generate access to education, access to better jobs for the next generation, whilst restoring biodiversity. And he sat back and said to his team, this is working, but why isn't it being scaled and replicated all around the world? We have a speed to scale problem. And his second observation back in 2018 was he saw very early on that young people were going to start to have mental health issues because of what they saw about climate change and how it was affecting their futures. He could see the rise in anger, the rise in anxiety, and his concern was that would lead to apathy and inaction and people feeling helpless and defeated. And that what we needed to do was to inject more urgent optimism into the global narrative about the environment by spotlighting what is already happening and then catalyzing and crowding in his platform, his amazing platform of connections to say, come on, let's speed these ones to scale and turn them into the new normal and bring the future towards us much quicker.
Yeah, and finally, Hannah, what's your message to the so-called climate change denialists out there who are saying that this is just all part of propaganda, who literally turn a blind eye to seeing the devastation that the climate change is having on communities around them and sometimes even themselves, but totally in denial?
You know, I find that denialism so hard to understand when you see cities like Cape Town that have struggled with water shortages, when you see cities like Cape Town who have had wildfires that have been unprecedented, when you see around the world what's happening right now in Spain with the floods that have never happened before, what happened in Florida with the hurricanes, the list goes on. The important thing, though, is if you will not get on this tipping of history that is happening where we are moving towards a greener future, then it's about being smart. Because what I always say to people is, we will get there. I believe fundamentally, when I look out across the world at the thousands of nominees into the Earthshot Prize, they are beacons of hope. They are also telling you what the future will look like. And their ideas are ingenious, and they will become the future leaders of the world. They'll become the industries of the world. So this is also about being smart. Bet on the future being green, and it's going to serve you well.
Yeah, and also have to say that considering that Africa has the lowest emissions compared to the other continents, you have a cohort of young people also heeding the call to say, let's make sure that we protect our planet. Hannah, thank you so much for your time. That was Earthshot Prize CEO Hannah Jones, ahead of the Earthshot Prize event that will be taking place later on this week.